Hello, Joy Olson here of Blockbuster Fundraising, our Fall Fundraising Festival. Last week we had really kind of started the countdown to year end. 11 weeks to go last week. 10 weeks to go this week. Those 10 weeks are going to fly. So last week we talked about Giving Tuesday. Are you going to kick off your year-end fundraising program on November 28th with a Giving Tuesday project? I hope so. And one of the reasons I hope so is because Giving Tuesday really brings to you and your organization new donors. All right. So how are you going to welcome those new donors and keep them engaged? That is the question. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because you know the new donor acquisition process doesn't end when your donor makes their first gift. Whew, it's just beginning. And the best way to keep that donor involved is to continue to give them more information so they get to know you after that first donation. You want to strengthen your relationships with your new donors through an email series. Now, the experts call this an onboarding series. In other words, you want to bring them on board, get those new donors close to the organization. So you welcome them with this email series and you help them get to know you. You give them the right information and content and opportunities to know you so that you transition from new donor acquisition to new donor support and retention. Okay? We all know that a new donor is fundamentally different from a repeat donor. Oh boy, and how? I mean, a brand new donor may have given to you based purely on emotion or to support a friend's fundraiser, which is a big part of Giving Tuesday because you want that friend fundraising, that peer-to-peer fundraising from your Giving Tuesday campaign. That's why you ask your volunteers and your staff members and your good donors to participate and bring their friends on board. So you really need to realize that this donation that you get on Giving Tuesday doesn't necessarily mean that they were convinced by your cause or your mission or your solutions. They did it maybe for a friend. So a repeat donor not only made that first gift, but they're satisfied. They feel good about that. They feel good about you. They're convinced that this is a good idea, that their gift has impact, and they have repeated the process. And that, we know, that second donation is crucial. And you know why? The statistics show us that first-time donor retention can be as low as 27%. That's crazy. That's over 2/3 of your new donors that you never see again. But the good news is the rate of retention shoots up when the person becomes a repeat donor. A donor who makes that first gift is really just giving you a chance. Now it's up to you to show them that they did the right thing. You're going to have a new welcome plan, a new welcome packet ready to go. So as part of our new welcome packet, we've got our email series ready to go. And this goal, the goal of this email series is to reassure those new donors that they've made the right decision and compel them to stay involved with your organization. So you want this email for new donors to really affirm the importance of your cause, the value of your organization, and the ability of that donor, that new donor, to make a difference. All right, now here are 3 areas that you can focus on when writing your emails. Okay, you ready? Number 1, inform. First-time donors will go through varying levels of research before making that gift sometimes, but it's still a very good idea to share details about your organization, including important facts about your cause, and also tell a compelling story. I can't stress this enough. This is extremely important. Your storytelling is always important, but with that new donor, even more so. All right. Impact. Show what your organization's impact is, because that is extremely important to get those new donors to stick around. The donor is now informed about your cause and your mission, but you want to show them how your organization is really helping people and making progress. And so impact stories, I can't even stress enough how important that is. The power of an individual story, not a group story. The power of an individual story can be more compelling and is more compelling and effective than statistics and numbers. Never forget that. Do not throw a bunch of statistics and numbers at donors ever, but particularly new donors. All right? And now what you want to do, number 3, is inspire. After you've informed your new donors about your cause, they know more about you, and you've shown them how you're making an impact, you're getting things done through your stories. The last step is, wow, you want to inspire them to get more involved. So show how donors and fundraisers are directly driving your organization's impact. And you can do this by connecting an individual donation with some result or translating a campaign's total funds into their concrete impact. If you can, highlight individual fundraising campaigns that were able to fund a tangible outcome. This is why you need to think in terms of projects. We talked about that last week. Have a project, and the project has a theme, and you're telling the story, and you're going to complete this project, and you can only complete this project and make this happen with their support. And while you're making that connection between your supporters and your impact, you've also got to give them the opportunity to act. You don't want to make it sound like everything is already done. You really need to get them involved and make them want to help do more. So, the whole point of this new welcome email series is to make your new donors want to get more involved. How? By volunteering, by donating, or by fundraising for you. All right? Well, you're probably wondering now, well, how many emails and how often and how do I do this? Well, the experts say that in most cases, 2 or 3 emails are enough to get someone up to date. So just remember, pick either 2 or 3 and be concise and efficient. Plan out these emails. And you can put links in them if you want to like your newsletter or videos you've done. Perhaps you do a blog. Put a link in, and that way they can choose to learn a lot more about your programs that interest them the most, okay? Now you're probably wondering, okay, well, I can do that, but how do I time these out? Well, limit your sends, they say, the experts say, to once a week. And this gives your donor time to look at each email, and then you should use your best judgment based on what you know about your donors and the organization to change this up a little bit. But what we've said is 2 or 3 emails once a week. So there you go. I think you can come up with a powerful plan for yourself right now, okay? Well, let's take a look at what else you can do with a new welcome packet. We've got now an idea for 2 or 3 emails that we are going to send out at least a week apart. I find that as a development director, one of the most effective parts of a welcome package or a retention package or just a development package is communicate by telephone. Just pick up the phone. And I'm sure that you don't have time to call each and every new donor, but make time each week to call at least a few and have somebody on your staff or your board that can help make new donor calls, because this is going to be extremely important to retaining them and keeping them close to the organization, because you want to find out a little bit more about them, what got them interested, because you want to figure out how in the world you can keep them. So make time in your new welcome packet to keep a telephone call in your new welcome plan, and also keep very good notes and put those notes in your database. So I would say within 30 days, don't let it go beyond 30 days. Have someone make a telephone call welcoming the new donors and telling them how extremely happy you are that you have their support, and find out why they gave their support to begin with, and keep them interested. Let them know how grateful and appreciative you are, and what great things you can do together. Okay, so what else can you do in your new donor packet that really makes your donors feel welcome? Well, you want to make sure that they get a newsletter if you've got a newsletter. I think that's very important. And I'm going to give you a link to a couple of organizations that have really exceptional good welcome packets, and you can look at some of their materials. One of them is Mercy Corps, and we also did one on Save the Children, an entire video that we went through step by step what we received as a new welcome packet. And I think that is such an important point to make as a development director, as a fundraiser. You need to be making donations to organizations and be on the receiving end of those new welcome packets, because you're going to get a real sense of what inspires you to want to get more interested and give another donation, and stay with that nonprofit, that charity, because you really feel like you're having an impact and they're doing great work, and you can do great work together. You're partners in doing good, and there's nothing more wonderful than that, especially right now. I want to mention too that people will say, when can I ask again? Because you want to make sure that until at least 30 to 45 days go by that you haven't asked again. But after that point, I think that an ask would be appropriate. You'll have a sense of this from telephone calls and communications, but you know what they say, and I think it's so true. Usually your best gifts are going to be from people that have recently given. And I tell you, as a development director of 22 years now, that works, and it's true. So it may not seem true to you at times, but it is. So you can't be afraid to ask again, but wait at least 45 days, 45 to 60 days. All right. Well, let's look back and kind of sum this up so that we know what we're going to do to ensure that our new donors feel welcome. Okay. Perhaps you have people on your board or your staff that might want to give a little new welcome gift. I really do think with nonprofits, it's probably not a good idea. Resist the tchotchkes, because most people right now want to feel like they're making a difference, that they're doing good. But if you give them a gift I think that oftentimes they number one, don't really want it, and number two, feel like maybe you're not spending their money in the right way. They want to help other people or animals or a cause, and they aren't giving to you for a gift. If you've got a newsletter, make sure that they get a newsletter so that they get a great overall perspective of your work and what you're doing, and that's just terrific information. So if you have brochures or a recent newsletter or an annual report, make sure that your new donor gets one of those, that is a part of your welcome packet. New donors often care about what your leadership is. So share with them the ways that they can get involved, like volunteer opportunities, or, and this is important, monthly giving opportunities, and why those monthly giving opportunities are so important, and what important work monthly giving opportunities, what a difference they make. And let those new donors know that you'd love to hear from them. Be interested in what they're thinking, because their thoughts about you and what you're doing certainly have real merit and great impact. Okay, let's see. A couple of other great items that you might want to consider adding to a new welcome kit. Perhaps, like if you're lucky enough to be a nonprofit that deals with young children and pre-education, perhaps a drawing or a piece of art from a child. A picture of maybe a dog that has recently overcome great obstacles and has been adopted at your humane society. Something that, or a picture of an endangered species that you are working to save. Something that really speaks to the heart and represents your mission. And remember that you want to make sure that your new donor welcome package, that you have decided what's going to happen in advance and what the timing is. This is a plan. This is a plan. It's not something you're scrambling to put together when a new donor comes in the door or through your donation page online. And important, you want to be able to welcome your new donor right away, within 48 hours. All right? You need to be prepared. Your new welcome donor package is absolutely going to be one of the most important things to your nonprofit and to your retention rate and to your fundraising goals. You're going to keep your donors with you, and you're not going to lose them. And this is going to be really an inspiration for everyone to see how important it is to make those new donors feel welcome. Well, this is Joy Olson of Blockbuster Fundraising saying thanks so much for having been here today. And one other thing that I want to add right here. You can really walk your new donors through key pages of your website, showing them how they can get involved, encouraging feedback, and demonstrating your expertise or your success or what your impact is. So don't forget that in your new welcome packet. Make sure that you include your web page, because whether you do it digitally or through the postal system or through your telephone, you want your new donors to feel welcome. So just think happy, simple, humble, sincere, gratitude. You just want those new donors to settle in and feel at home and feel like you're going to do great things together. So this is Joy Olson of Blockbuster Fundraising saying thank you so much for having been here today. We can't believe that we've only got 10 weeks to go in 2017 to reach and surpass all of our 2017 fundraising goals. And we know together we can do it. We hope to inspire you a little bit each and every week, each and every day. Look for more information at joyolsongroup.com, blockbusterfundraising.com, and hundreds of free fundraising video tips on our YouTube channel. Thanks so much for having been here today. Let's welcome those new donors with a great new donor welcome plan. Bye-bye and thanks. Blockbuster Fundraising live on Facebook every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Lots of timely tips at the Fall Fundraising Festival and year-end planning. Hundreds of fundraising video tips. It all happens at blockbusterfundraising.com.